All right. Hey, so I spent some time on the internet, guys, and I wrote down a lot of facts, and there's one that one common misconception that I want to correct, and I think you guys are all going to be really upset about it. Let me just.
Jeez, Bill, that's a giant book.
Yeah, I mean, I got to look for this. There's a lot of facts in here. Do you want to hear some of the other ones?
Sure.
There we go. Now you can really hear that I'm turning actual book pages. Let me just randomly open up to the first fact. See, these aren't all that impressive. Stevie Wonder is blind. He's just Daredevil's dad. JFK shot himself. The Holocaust was just a big misunderstanding.
Wait,
Hitler
what?
did a couple things wrong. Christopher Columbus is a war hero. FDR was the first man to dunk in the Negro Leagues. The Hindenburg wasn't filled with hydrogen. It was just driven by Paul Walker's grandfather. Okay, here's the big fact that is going to be most upsetting. Dog the Bounty Hunter is only 5'7". Are you fucking kidding me?
What?
The Bounty Hunter.
How does that?
He's still taller. He's still taller than me.
Well, I mean,
Everyone's taller than you, Chris. Okay, we get it.
Your family's
Even you,
started
You're
in the
just
Wizard
so
of Oz,
teeny
right?
pocket size. We get it. It's adorable, and we're done with it. All right.
Chris, you should take this as a sign of hope.
Your first girlfriend was Polly Pocket.
Oh, dude, I was just gonna make a Polly Pocket joke. God damn it!
She was my girlfriend too. It was really awkward.
She was everyone's girlfriend.
It was really
Okay.
awkward.
All right.
I was more attached than I should have been.
She's just so tiny and adorable.
And it took me a while to get over that.
Okay.
So many
all right.
accessories.
I love you, Miss Pocket.
I think we can move
Dude,
on.
I fucking loved Polly Pockets as a kid. That was my jam.
So did I.
Okay, we're moving on. Welcome to another installment of Two Guns, No
Almost as much
Ammo.
as My Little Ponies.
Hey, this episode, can you cool it in the middle of my sentences? Huh?
Sandwiches?
Yeah, the middle of my sandwiches. Just cool it.
Can I have my book back?
No, this is my book of the internet facts.
Get your own.
Somehow I'm caught in the middle of this.
Yep.
Anyway, Chris, you should have hope that you too can be a bounty hunter. If you believe in yourself.
This is another episode of Two Guns, No Ammunition. I'm Billy Two Guns. We are No Ammunition. Thank you for joining us again. We've had a lot of life changes going on, so our episodes are not coming as frequently as they used to, but
Oh. Sorry.
You know, parting just makes the heart grow fonder, and we've missed all of you very much, and we're glad to have you back. We hope you feel the same about us.
so
What was that about Hitler you said at the top?
Right?
Don't repeat
Something
it.
about
Go
the
on.
Holocaust?
what, that the Holocaust was just a big misunderstanding?
And,
Oh my God.
and that he did a couple things wrong.
He did a couple things wrong.
It just got blown out of proportion.
He's only human.
That's just the note I have in the book. I got it from the internet, okay? The Holocaust was a big misunderstanding. Hitler did a couple things wrong.
Wasn't it
What's
Abe
your
Lincoln?
source?
Wasn't it Abe Lincoln
internet.
that said, "If it's on the internet, it must be true"?
It was. I saw that on the
The
internet.
Hindenburg was flown by Paul Walker's grandfather,
Yeah.
right?
And I am his grandson.
oh my God.
Oh my
You're Paul
God.
Walker's grandson?
Yeah. I'm
Wow,
really old.
he does not. I mean, he did not.
He did
live
not fuck
very-
around.
This is a bigger story than I
Paul Walker was a father before he was even born.
Yeah.
Are you going to wreck your desk chair?
Yeah.
What?
God.
Set
Yeah.
into a.
This episode
Oh, boy.
is the last episode.
Have you heard?
Because we're destroying the studio.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Hey, your
get
bedroom.
hype.
Have you heard? So whenever we get together with Genevieve's roller derby team, one of the husbands gets a couple of drinks in him, and he starts telling us his pet conspiracy, which is that Stevie Wonder is actually not blind.
Is this
He's
Waylon?
not as blind as he says he is.
It's got to be Waylon.
And he shows this this video to us every time of like a microphone falling over and Stevie Wonder catching it. But it looks to me like Stevie was just like gesturing with his hands and the microphone happens to fall into it. He's like, there, he can see it. He can see shapes. It's a conspiracy. I love it.
I feel like, didn't you bring that up at one point when you used it as like an excuse to get out of another conversation? You're just like, I think Stevie Wonder was actually blind. And then like he went off on a tirade about it after like just finishing talking about it.
I might have. I think
Excellent.
Because he's
Excellent.
so
Weaponized
into this
conspiracies.
conspiracy.
yeah.
That conspiracy itself is a false flag. You're perpetuating it.
What?
You just told us.
It's a false flag for what?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh shit!
You're the one using it.
I got to get back on the internet. Where all the truth
Yes,
lies.
we're not spending enough time on the internet.
So, okay. So when we parted, I said I was going to be on the actual radio,
Yeah.
and I was.
Oh fuck!
It was great.
It was great.
It was great.
It was great. It was great. That's our. Who's that? Sylvester
That's our
Stallone.
Sly.
I was on the Crash and Burn show, and it was 3 weeks ago.
That
Maybe?
sounds about right.
I got on the air. I went into the studio at like midnight, and I got on the air at probably 12:40, and then we just sat and talked till 2 a.m. And they had me on as Wild Bill, and I told some rugby stories. And at the very end, I arm wrestled the guy, and I crushed him. But I'm pretty sure. Come to find out, they had talked about this on their show, but 2 of the guys on the show are professional wrestlers. They're like, you're a big guy. You should get in the ring with us. And I
They
was
were
like,
so excited. Like they kept talking about before you even went in, and I think you heard it. You were listening.
Yeah.
In the waiting room, I guess.
Yeah, they had me. They had a green room in which I sat while they did the first part of their show, and the guy I guess the producer comes in and he's like, all right, so I'm just going to do some basic questions so that the guys can be ready for you. And I pulled out a book. I had like 3 pages of potential stuff
They were
to talk
so
about.
intimidated,
They're
I
like,
think.
oh, okay. Like,
Yeah, they're like, he has a notebook. This
Yeah.
guy means business.
he's ready. So anyway, but these guys are like professional wrestlers. So they do the whole like squared circle thing. So at the very end, they had me arm wrestle, and they hadn't. I don't think they expected me to listen to their show, and I'd listened to like the previous 3 or 4 episodes out of 9. So I listened to a third of their catalog, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna make him arm wrestle, unless he's a coward and he backs down." So I come in and I go, "Yeah, I can't arm wrestle. I got really weak biceps, and I'm a coward. I'll always back down." And they're like, "Wait, what?" Nah, just kidding. So anyway, I arm wrestle him, and he like, not only do I win, but he like tumbles into me, and I catch him, and it's on camera, and I was like, that was pretty cool. I feel pretty great. And I get home, and I'm still hyped up. It's like probably 3:30 in the morning, and then it hits me right before I fall asleep. He let me win, and he sold it because he's a professional wrestler and he knows how to sell these things. And I've been stewing on it for 3 weeks.
Oh man!
Son of a
Rematch.
Yeah, you gotta go back.
This Sunday.
Oh, at the very end, fortunately, and this shows how far I've come as an individual. That I wasn't too huge of a pussy to ask this. At the very end, they're like, all right, we're going to wrap it up. I was like, it's always been my dream to do my movie voice on the radio to all, I don't know, maybe they have 3 listeners live, but they have a lot of downloads on iTunes and shit. And I did the coffee killer over the radio, and it was everything I dreamed. So they had me stay, and I did a couple of this Monday, forget everything you thought you knew about Midnight Radio, the Crash and Burn Show on 91.3 WVUD.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, so I'm the guy who says that now, and then I did this one's going, it's out of here. The Crash and Burn Show is a home run on 91.3 WVUD.
You're
So
extremely good at that.
thank you. And
The
I
announcer
was
voice.
like, it was a lot of fun. So I've been in contact with Marie, one of the personalities on the show, and hopefully we're going to get a project together, she and I. I want to tell you about this much. There's some things I walked away from their show that it was really cool. Well, first off, they basically have a starting story like us. They're just a podcast in a garage, and they just kept at it, and now they're on a radio, right? And they're doing a late night show, but they're sitting in an actual radio studio, broadcasting live. And I got to tell you 2 things. First off, the vibe in there, we're pretty good when we get guests in, especially when they're nervous and they don't know what's going on. It's unbelievable the environment that these guys have when you go in as like just somebody, right? They didn't hardly know me at all, and I felt like we were old friends shooting the shit. and like just the atmosphere was so good, and like there'd be like little pauses, but everybody sort of weighed in a really good balanced way, and they would direct the conversation smoothly. But like I never felt overwhelmed as a guest. I never felt like I was stepping on anybody's toes, but if I sort of like started spinning my wheels, they would help me right along. It was just it was so cool to see a group like to be around people who are so excellent at something that, you know, I try to do. Right. It's, you know, I guess it's like if you're a sports ball fan and you go see a professional sports ball player in the same room. Right. It was really, really neat. What a cool environment they cultivated. And the other thing was, I don't know what this equipment was. I have to ask them. That was the most unbelievable microphone sound I have ever experienced. It sounded better coming through my headphones than listening to my own voice when I talk in real life.
They auto-tuned you.
Right? Like the headphones and the microphone was better than real life. It just sounded like me that can't, it was so fucking cool. And there's always this thing I sort of wonder, and Jake, you might know this, you'd probably know this out of anybody who would know it in the group. Like, I'll listen to professional singers and they sound so good when after they're mixed and they're put out in their thing, and some of them really kill it in live performances, and some of them they're not super impressive. And I'm always like, I wonder what like your average Joe would sound like with something like properly produced. Well, I wonder what I would sound like properly produced. And when
What are you trying to say?
Whoa.
We're trying to say, Bill. We're trying to say.
I meant in the context. I meant
on live air.
Excuse me. I meant in the context of a song. Now, I've offered my pipes to Jacob's
Haven't used them yet.
musical endeavors here, but
I'll
he
use
has
your
that
pipes.
sweet robot voice that he uses, so he doesn't need me.
That's not true.
Frank's voice.
Robots.
It's Frank's voice.
It's been Frank the whole time.
The ultimate betrayal.
No, but so I just, and I've always wondered, and it's one of those things. It's like, you know, there's a level I've talked about it before. You ever see an amateur buy equipment that's like really, really expensive, and they're like, fuck, they're like, oh, it's gonna make my game so much better, and you're like, you look at them, you're like, you're not that good.
Yeah.
Like, excellent equipment makes a difference to like professionals, right?
Who know what
Because
they're doing.
They're 98% of the way there, and that last 2% is influenced by equipment levels. I'm like, you know, you or me playing golf are like 4% of the way there. But then the half a degree of precision on our driver face isn't gonna make a difference for us because we're fucking hitting worm burners into a pond or something.
I think that goes for most technology, right?
I
Like,
don't
what
know
would
what you said.
anyone in here do properly with a Ferrari?
Exactly.
Like, we would crash it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying
or-
we're experts in crashing.
Or drive it very slowly because the holy.
Well, you would burn it up to continue the Paul Walker
Yes.
family lineage.
You know, I know I said on the mic, but like I'm trying to keep them down.
You're a very famous.
Just between you, me, and everyone who will ever hear this.
It's only public on the internet.
But like,
forever.
and you know, with whether it's firearms, even, right? It's always the Indian, not the arrow, is the old adage. So yeah,
Triggered.
if you go right, so if you go out and buy a $7,000 guitar, tempted though I have been, I do not have the skill set or the like professional need to justify it.
Yeah.
So that means that it would be nothing more than a luxury, and if I can't afford it, then I'm an idiot.
Yeah. No. I'm not saying that. Like, you'll definitely see a difference in even our levels of endeavors between like a $50 piece of equipment and a $350 piece of equipment. But I don't know anything that I'm good at enough to warrant like, should I go for the $8,000 version or the $12,000 version?
Yeah, no. Once we start talking 4 digits, I pump the brakes pretty hard.
Yeah. So so I did those mic identifiers with those guys, and I had the cans on, and I keep saying that, like the headphones. One of a podcast I listen to calls them cans, so I think it's funny. And the mic, and I heard it, and I sounded better than I sound in real life. I was like, this shit is amazing. So I think there is some. I think there is
like Coach Steve for a second from Big Mouth.
I think there is some truth to that idea that like really excellent equipment improves people. It'll even improve an amateur is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
But an amateur is more likely to use it not to its fullest potential.
Exactly. Yeah. These are pretty dope too.
That sounds pretty
So
good.
Bill just put on Jake's headphones.
Yeah.
Because you guys can't see what we're doing.
But so the equipment that we were using, it was the University of Delaware's radio station. So it was like legit university equipment. And I got to tell you, Jake, I wish I could figure out a way for us to get down there. You'd be like a pig in shit. They're just fucking knobbies and computers.
Knobbies?
Yeah. I mean, it would be
Twisty knobbies, things, buttons,
if you enjoy doing the production at all, you would love it down there. And what else? Yeah. So I'm looking to do.
Do they have a soundboard?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Big Daddy, and they have like an executive producer room, and they have that glass that sound doesn't come through, but you can see people, and they have a 30-second delay in case somebody swears you can dump it. You know, it's so good.
Now was Roz there?
Roz was not there, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, then it's not really a radio station.
From
right?
Frasier, some scrambled eggs.
That's the song.
They call it again.
Sure,
Listen, here's the thing about.
Wow.
Here's the thing about Roz, and I'll say this about Elaine from Seinfeld. They both got rockin' bods, but because it was like the 90s or whatever, they wore those horrible shoulder pads. I never knew watching those shows that those people were attractive, you know?
Because their shoulders were too big?
Amongst other things. 90s fashion is not super flattering.
Yeah, what was that?
And then the country was recovering from the 80s.
They were in a perpetual coke hangover.
Yeah. So, but then, what's her nuts?
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah. Who's
Louis C.K. Dreyfus?
Isn't she a Mont LeBlanc or something? She's
what?
She's a
Did
pope.
you say Matt LeBlanc?
That's what I thought you said.
Is she also Matt LeBlanc?
No, she's a
also
Vanderbilt, like Anderson Cooper. No, she.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
She was in Veep.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, banging body over here. Like, no wonder all the characters in the show were interested in her. But you couldn't see that. And then the same thing watching Frasier. Now, Frasier, good show in its own. Roz talked like a goddamn robot, but not like a fun robot like Frank. It was like Keanu Reeves acting in Hardball. You know, before we cared and liked him. Oh, yes, I have emotions. And they're like, don't worry, she's hot. And you're like, well, she's in like a suit with shoulder pads. How
She
can
had
we
this
tell?
sexy voice.
You
don't like that voice?
I don't know. So, like I said, we're going to be looking to the Crash and Burn show. I think they're on their 11th episode. Check them out. They're about an hour, 20 minutes long. They put them out Mondays. They live stream on Spreaker, like speaker with an R after the P, Spreaker.com. And their logo is a flaming airplane made of money crashing. So that's pretty lit.
Jake would like it a lot.
And if you listen to them live stream, you can talk with them. They have a live chat that you can interact with them with. And there's this one guy, Ace, who called in the week before, and he pulled his wife's like phone records, and there was this whole whole
she's
drama
sneaking around on him.
Yeah, and so she's like, is she sneaking around on me? That was his big thing. And he's talking to the radio station. They call a number that he found in her phone records that he pulled from the company. And I was like, he was talking shit on me while I was in there because I was doing some self-deprecating humor.
Like,
and
he was live chat
live chat talking shit on me because I used to drink a box of Franzia and cry over that 70s show because their friendship is so resilient. You know, and so I said something about at least I don't have to worry about my woman, you know, cheating on me or some shit like that. Sorry, my partner.
It's important you
Partner who consents to be my partner.
You're damn right you don't call me a woman. Wait, what?
He got mad. It was like this whole drama.
It's pronounced whammon.
But I told one story. I did tell one good story on there about rugby, about how Crazy Alex, aka the Toothless Wonder, he has like falsies in the first two front teeth, and we were working out at the gym one time and doing a bench press. I was doing a bench press and he was like, "Come on, man, you got it, fucking get it!" And his teeth flew out and bounced off my chest and landed on the ground.
Oh no!
And I had to
Worst place for that to happen.
But I
worst.
forgot the story I really wanted to tell about how I knew I was going to fit in on the rugby team. Mm-hmm. And it was one of our earlier games, and I was fat, big surprise. And I was putting on a jersey. I'm like, this jersey makes me look fat. And one of the guys on the team goes, "I think it's your fat that makes you look fat." And I almost went, "I've been accepted." This is where I belong. Yeah. But Spreaker's pretty cool. They pushed on iTunes, and it's interesting because they've got, you know, they've probably got similar numbers to us in downloads on Spreaker. But they get on iTunes and they had like 700 downloads. So I think that's something I'm going to have to look into because that might be how we penetrate the market.
SoundCloud doesn't do a whole lot and YouTube is fucked.
Yeah.
So
we'll look around. But yeah, it was a fucking blast. I can't thank those guys enough. And it's like it was I would say they were putting on a fucking clinic. They were just so good at what they did. It was so much fun. I went back and I listened to it, and like it's one of those things. I sounded better because they were so good. You know, I don't know. It's like you ever play I don't know, Jake, maybe you've had a jam sesh with really good players, and you know, Genevieve, you've played roly-doby with some really good roly-dobiers, and Chris, you know, so but
yes, Bill.
Oh, what? Anyhow, that was a really good time, and I think we're going to be trying to hit other vectors. And other big news on the bill front: my current roommate is moving out this month, and the English import, the mega cunt himself. What did we call it? Tom, friend
Paz?
of the podcast.
It's not Paz, friend of the podcast.
Paz, friend of the podcast, is moving in with his wife, and we're gonna have 2 dogs at my house.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
My God.
I
Yeah.
remember Mac. We brought him in here once.
Yeah, macaroni, cheese and bologna.
Oh
Mac
my
attack.
God.
What's up? So
He's the one we care about.
maybe we'll start a reality TV show.
that'd be good.
Yeah. Some English cunt living with America Daddy. All right. What's going on in your guys' lives? You guys been playing anything fun? Have you heard of this
life stuff
Google Stadia?
No.
Google has they have a gaming service that they're coming out with. And you connect your controller connects through Wi-Fi, and I think they do all the computing on their end, and they stream it to you.
Streaming into you, yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds. What a bunch of faith they're putting in internet connections, but I guess we're there. Google Stadia will become available in November with an entry price of $129.99 for the Founders Edition package. Pre-order on Google Stadia site, which includes a game controller, Chromecast Ultra streaming device, and a 3-month subscription. So it's their cloud-based video game, which is pretty neat because now that the cloud is established, now that people are like, all right, I don't really need. Well, I mean, companies are doing it, right? So companies are like, I don't need or particularly want to host the infrastructure for having all my servers and data in-house. And I gotta say, at first, I was very suspicious of a lot of it. But companies, even Microsoft got behind, were like, we're trying to make this secure as shit. And that's how they got a lot of investment. And I'll tell you who's a major player in this is Amazon. Amazon Web Services supports, they're the servers for tons and tons and tons of websites out there. I think even Google uses Amazon data centers. So think like warehouses full of computers that so it's not actual hardware. What they do is they virtually allocate a certain amount of resources, and they host your little website or whatever in this environment, and they can dynamically allocate more, fewer resources, more or less resources. Anyway, they're going to do that for video gaming, which is pretty fucking cool because you don't need a lot of computing all the time for these games. And if you get to a big load menu, they can just fucking cloud it up. Just cloud it up, baby. But you knew that Google was, they've been trying to get us being, well, me. They love me. Now they hate me. Okay. They've been trying to get us into a subscription model like the rest of every other industry for a hot minute now. Right?
Really?
There was YouTube Red.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now there's YouTube Music. Like they, and when I can go on YouTube and I don't even use an ad blocker. But I could. Why would I go to YouTube Music? Oh, we can better cultivate your fucking shit. You better give you better stuff that you want. I'm like, I don't care. I'll just look at the songs I want. Now they got something that might actually get me. So I
can give you a better reason later on as to why you would never need YouTube Music or anything like it.
Right.
But
so I will pass this around. We've got an image of their controller, which is like, it's like an Xbox controller smashed a PlayStation controller and had a very boring child. Like,
oh yeah,
this new standard of $70 for a controller seems pretty wild to me. But this one has cool buttons so you can take an immediate video clip and share it. But yeah, there you go. I mean, Google's moving to the subscription model for something finally, because I think there's also a big push. People are getting tired of having all their data always being monitored and sold, and I'm sure they'll still do that, but maybe this will make them more comfortable.
Well, I mean, apropos, full disclosure, I'm in no way sponsored by the Brave browser, but it's a web browser called Brave. Okay, it's open source based on Chrome, and if Chrome is your preferred browser, you can seamlessly migrate over to Brave if you would like to, which I did long ago. It has a built-in ad blocker, built-in anti-tracker, and loads pages up to 50% faster as a result, because it loads literally none of that shit. But you can opt to put your shields down, quote unquote, on a given site if you want to, or customize what you allow through on that site. It's pretty sweet. Additionally, it's for desktop and mobile, obviously. Additionally, there is a setting you can go into. It's like 2 taps, maybe 3, to switch it so that on your phone, when your phone is locked, the browser will continue playing.
Oh.
Say a YouTube video or playlist.
Oh.
So you can't use the YouTube app anymore, obviously, but you just load the Brave browser, which is probably faster anyway. Go to whatever songs you want, make sure that setting is on, and then you'll have no ads and endless music.
Yeah.
The worst that'll happen is that the YouTube will occasionally, pause a video and ask you if you're still watching, but
does that to me all the time.
Yeah. So that's a thing. And another reason why it's a good idea, especially if you like small podcasts like ours, and we're not registered on this platform. If we gain some more traction at some point, then I'll consider it. But it's not at all a secret that I'm a fan of the Drunken Peasants, and they are on this platform. They have a cryptocurrency behind them called the Basic Attention Token, right? And what you can do is you can enable ads through the browser if you want to, ads supported by Brave. You'll only get them on your desktop as like a notification, and they're really just like web pages for things. If you and you can set it to either none at all the way up to like 5 per hour on average, and you'll just get this pop up. You can ignore it or click it if you want to, and it pulls up this page and linger there, whatever. The more you do that, once a month, Brave gives you like an allowance, essentially based on how many ads you watched, of this cryptocurrency, not for your own use, but which you can then direct to any independent creator or website that is registered on this platform for their services, obviously in exchange for not giving them any ad revenue through, say, YouTube. So it utterly circumvents all of that bullshit, and it's completely up to you who you support monetarily, and it costs you nothing.
Love it.
It's pretty sweet. And of course, you can buy the basic attention token as an investment if you're so inclined, as I have done as well.
Nice.
It's like, it's been fluctuating between like 28 and 40 cents per coin for quite a while. It's a little down right now. So it's a cheap investment if you want to get into that. Hop on Coinbase. But yeah, so I'm just because I love the browser so much for all these reasons, I am recommending it to everyone on every platform you can pretty much think of.
Yeah, check it out. All right, let's see.
I have it on my computer. I don't have it on my phone yet.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Let's check. Let's see what else they got. There's a...
We're back to Google.
Yeah, we're back
Stadia.
to the Stadia. So I guess there's... Okay. Like Netflix, Stadia has a higher quality tier, the Stadia Pro subscription, which is $9.99 monthly after your initial 3 months pass. For that, you can stream games in 4K at 60 frames per second with 5.1 surround sound on your TV, computer, tablet, or Pixel 3 or 3A smartphone.
Damn.
Yeah, eventually more phones and devices will be added, Google says. So the industry seems to finally be embracing cross-platform stuff. And I think I have to thank the movement to the cloud for that. This idea that it doesn't matter what your consumer has anymore, because they're running a thin client. So interestingly, there's like thin client stuff where the computers on the back end do all the computing, and you as the user, your machine only gets a very little bit amount of stuff that it has to compute. It basically has to render the images. But I got a new job like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that's how everybody's computer is at my work now. Like, there are no assigned seats because you can log in from any machine, and they have a virtual instance of your workspace spun up on one of their servers, and you just contact it no matter where you are. So even if I work from home, which I did one day, I just logged into their site, and then they basically stream me my desktop space with all the software I have for work. It's fucking amazing. And you know what I mean? I could do it from my phone because all the computation's taking place on the back end. And it's sort of interesting to look at the evolution of computing, because back in the day, all this shit was done on like mainframe systems. And basically you just had access terminals, right? So they were like little video screen pop-ups with keyboards that talked to a big machine way back somewhere away. You access through access terminals, but you didn't have, it was all centralized. You know, think like before the internet, at research centers. Then we moved to personal computers, and everybody's machines got stronger, and you did a lot of computing on your machine. Now we've gone back to this centralization. We're almost back in that mainframe model, but I guess it only sort of reflects it superficially, because they can move the computing around on the cloud, so it's not actually centralized. So if you like shot a missile at one of the server centers, they would just do all that computation in some other server on the other side of the planet. They can actively just move that shit around, no problem. So whereas if a mainframe went down, everything just was fucked. But it's kind of neat. It's kind of neat how it's evolved. And Fart Night, as they call it.
Sir Fart Night?
Yeah. I've seen the rebranding.
Yeah, Fart Night. I almost want to credit them. I don't know if they were just the harbinger of the change or if they really drove it, but they're like, yeah, you can play this competitive shooter cross-platform, which I don't know if you guys recall, as a community, as a game community, we've been like starved for that for forever. They tried to do it with Shadowrun. They did do it with Shadowrun, I think it was, and it didn't really catch on because PC gamers would just poop on, because the mouse and keyboard is just so much better. They just poop on console players. And Fortnite was like, I don't care. So
I don't care. Whatever.
you can play on your phone. Fuck it, you can play on your phone. And
Yeah,
now,
fuck it, why not?
Yeah, fuck it.
Let's do it live.
Like, oh, we need to get all these companies. The big money for games is in the mobile game space, and then all these companies are like, how the fuck we got to make a fucking mobile game? Stupid ass phones. Partner's like, fuck it, just play our game on your
phone.
and get good, bro. So, I'm pretty stoked, and I don't think that consoles are going to go away. I don't know if we're going to move to the image that Microsoft seemed to have wanted with Xbox, like an entertainment media center. But I think consoles aren't going to go away, but this streaming and having the computation be somebody else's problem, I think is going to definitely be
Game changer.
a game changer.
I'm sure all these things will exist in some shape or form for in long overlapping stretches, just by virtue of different people's needs and situations. You know what I mean? Their bandwidth, their bank account, whatever, and the types of games or tasks they play and do.
So there's a free version of Stadia. There's a base version. You just can't play in 4K, and you don't get discounts on the games. But some of the launch video games, here we go. Doom Eternal, Rage 2, Destiny 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Tom Clancy's Division 2, Mortal Kombat 11, Borderlands 3, and NBA 2K. Are those the games, or are they just the people? We'll have at least 31 games from 21 different publishers, including, Okay, so, I mean,
Those are good titles.
Yeah, those are good titles. I don't know if they're, like, super duper, but I think we're going to get to this point where we just have so many good fucking video games everywhere. It's going to be like TV shows. Like, you can't even try to keep on top of it. So, what do you guys think? Do you have any thoughts on Google moving into this space?
It's definitely logical. When I'm actually, it's funny that we were bringing this up because I'm working on my Microsoft 360 fundamentals certification, and that's exactly what's in this whole thing is this cloud computing thing. And I'm not even surprised that this is coming on up, because Microsoft's whole thing right now is cloud computing. Like, everything is cloud computing, everything is super secure. I'm not surprised this is a route that we're going down.
Microsoft is they're coming out with a game offering too. I think they just partnered with somebody. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be everywhere. I will say this, and it's going to sound ridiculous. I imagine I'm always overcautious, but I'm worried about these like Silicon Valley companies, tech companies, because they have this they have like a company culture all their own. And I sort of notice it because I'm in the tech industry. Like, we're like, we don't do things West Coast. Like, we'll set up our building sort of West Coast, but the culture's not West. Like, it's just different over there. And I'm really wondering, in sort of an apprehensive way, what the introduction of this Silicon Valley culture is going to be like into video gaming. Video gaming still, to a large degree, can be the Wild West. Like, you can really see some of the edgiest edgelords out there. But
I would know, since I am one.
Yeah, but like with how policed YouTube is, and I mean, there are games that have text filters and shit like that, so you just get kicked if you say no words. I'm just wondering, it's this really hyper aware, almost very PC culture that it's going to sort of flow into it, and I wonder.
Wait, you're saying the Silicon Valley part of it is
the
filter?
Yeah. When I think of the Silicon Valley, it's like these uber technology oriented, super PC. I don't want to say like progressive, but like it's just it's like shocking in how hyper aware they are of cutting edge sensitivity.
Okay.
And like there are some games that I've played, and I'm thinking specifically in my head of I'm thinking of like this War of Mine. There are these games that come out of countries where that is like the last thing on their mind, you know, where life has been hard, and you know they don't give a fuck about a lot of the shit that America's mulling over, and they're dealing with really serious topics. And I'm wondering if we're going to run into the Disneyfication of that, you know, like
it's an apocalypse and we're all dead and like it's hard to survive, but don't say bad words.
Yeah, or it'll be like friendship will bring us together, like, you know, or like the person who saves the world will have blue hair because they got to say something about, I don't know, whatever. But like
fucking blue-haired people.
Yeah, blue-haired people, motherfuckers.
Suck a dick.
You guys are racist.
Well, I don't know about
against
that.
the blue hairs.
Yeah, against the blue hair.
Yeah, get at me, Marge Simpson.
But I'm sure it'll all work out. It's not like they will complete. I don't want to jinx it, but they won't shut down every other goddamn video game out there. I mean, it's just if you don't feed the creativity of other people. We've talked about this with Bethesda and how hard they lock down their intellectual property. And with these professional leagues, you can really sort of orient the community's behavior in one direction. And I'll say it's toward higher level competition. I mean, we got pros making real money now. We got excellent players out there, but
you're talking about esports?
Yeah, esports, okay. But you're not necessarily getting the creativity that you used to get in sort of the heyday of the YouTubes, right? 5 years ago, 7 years ago, back when people didn't know what was going on. But hey, I don't know. Chris,
Bill,
what's your next move? Are you going to go for the next Xbox?
The next box?
I think it's coming out 2020. PlayStation 5, or are you going to go for one of these streaming joints?
I will probably if I get another console, because I'm pretty sold on PC.
Yeah, part of the master race.
Yeah, oh yeah. If I were to get another console, I'd actually probably get the new PlayStation.
I've always felt that the PlayStation was much more mature platform, you know, mature, and like Xbox was like that like smelly kid.
Really?
Smelly kid at school, always had jam hands, and his mom spiked his hair for him. That was Xbox to me.
Whose mom is spiking their hair? What?
You don't remember
Xbox?
Yeah,
kids.
His mom. Ugh. What about you, G? What you think you're going to pick up one of the next consoles?
Probably not, since I am also part of PC Master Race, but if I were going to, it'd be PlayStation, since that's what I know.
Yeah, it just doesn't have that. I don't think it has as big a market as Xbox does.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Not
Xbox,
in the US.
To me, seems more mainstream, or like what people jump to when they think of video games.
If I remember right, and whatever I remember is old because I haven't looked into this for a while, but the last I checked, the PlayStation had a significantly larger international market than the Xbox. But the Xbox dominated the U.S.
Wow.
Now,
it is a U.S. company.
Yeah, so there's that. I don't know about your smelly kid analogy, but I mean, in so many ways, the consoles are equivalent to me. They have their advantages and disadvantages, but I don't care about them for the most part, and I have a very, very powerful computer with room for it to get even more, so...
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm tempted to get a PlayStation because I haven't owned a PlayStation since the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, in fact, the only one I ever owned, and I liked it a lot. I really only switched to Xbox because in middle and high school, everyone was rolling that way. Everyone who I was friends with. I 100% followed the pack there and just stuck with it after the fact. And then I got a better computer. So.
I think I would buy 40 Sega Dreamcast at this point.
40.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just...
You don't think that might be an answer to a different question?
Because we didn't ask anything about Sega Dreamcast.
Sega!
Well, you know what?
Include
Hold on.
Nintendo.
Bill, you're fired.
All right, I guess to round out this first section, let's ask this question. Has anyone else in the room watched that goddamn show on Netflix? You got rid of Netflix. Big Brother, no. Big Mouth.
Yes.
Chris, have you watched Big Mouth?
I have not.
Oh,
Frank has watched the fuck out of Big Mouth,
'Cause
but
it's
he's not
amazing.
here today because he's gay.
yeah.
Yes.
Dude,
Officially, he is now gay.
fucking
This is the final straw.
I
He is the
did
gay.
not get into this show because it was all about like going through puberty and being angsty and uncomfortable. Well, not really angsty, I suppose awkward. And
You're
I was
still
like,
there.
I lived that.
God.
Sick burn, bro.
Yeah.
I've lived
Wait,
that.
what?
And I'm living that. I don't need to watch a TV show about it. But then Genevieve was like, I actually like this show a lot, so we watched it. I'm all about it, dog. I'm giving it a
Yeah.
second watch through.
It's definitely cringy for the first few episodes at least, but then you're like, all right. Some of it's pretty good.
All right.
They introduce this, they have this whole concept of like your hormones are anthropomorphized as a hormone monster that like the kids talk to. And
Which is horrific if you actually thought about what it would look like in real life.
when
It's a
you're like
cartoon.
having a really like emotional pubescent teen moment, the monsters like they go all in with you. They're like, yeah, fuck her face.
Yeah. But then because there's the hormone monster and the hormone monstress,
Yeah.
which is the girl version, but she
Yeah, baby, fuck you, Sharon.
like she makes the girl that you're following with her like yell at her mom and cry and shoplift, like all this crazy like teenage girl stuff and like get emotional about nothing, and it's all over the place.
Yeah, the one hormone monster, the part I was referencing is like, I guess a girl like got her period or something, and it went through her, it, like got on her shorts. It was this whole thing that, of course, the
It's
show
like the
deals with.
second episode too.
And one of the characters is like, his hormone monster goes, "Is that blood? Oh my god, it's period blood." And he's like, no, she's like, she's having a hard day, leave her alone. And he goes, you know what you have to do? No, I don't say it. Fuck her mouth.
Oh my god.
It's like the internal dialogue of every teen boy. Amazing. Well, unless you're gay,
Well,
then they fuck his mouth.
no, because he also has a hormone monster. That character,
Oh yeah, that character.
the one gay character.
The hormone monstress, who, if you can get back past the whole thing that she's a hairy monster, is a hot mommy though.
Oh boy. Should I start?
And
growing
she's
my
got
hair?
prehensile hair, flowing
yeah.
hair. Ooh, think about that, Christopher. Ooh.
that animated hair.
She's voiced by Maya Rudolph. I wish I could talk 1/10 as cool as she can. Holy fuck, is she a talented voice actor?
It's
oh,
almost
my.
like her Beyonce impression. If you've ever seen that, like she did that for a while on SNL.
Yeah. But if you stop, like I sort of take it for granted that that's how these characters are talking. Yeah, she does this stuff. She'll go, but
Yeah.
she says it like so fun, but you can still understand it. And after having talked on a microphone for 80 episodes or whatever, like I sort of have a sense of how difficult it can be to be captured and get the audio. Like she's just unbelievable. And even so, when I did that with a radio identifier for the Crash and Burn show, which everybody should go listen to, they're like, just do something for us. That's as much direction as I got. Just do your thing. And I'm like, oh, this is probably how it is in real life, like for professionals. So she might have interviewed for that position. She probably did. I can't imagine going in and putting on a fucking 10th of the performance that she does. It's unbelievable. And I had not so secretly dreamed to be a voice actor. And I'm like, watching her performance, it frightens me. It intimidates the shit out of me. I'm like, oh my God, I have to compete with that.
Well, and also like it's kind of interesting because there's really like 3 main voices on the entire show.
Yeah.
Because I think there's like 1 or 2 classmates of these kids that are done by other actors, but otherwise it's all John Mulaney, Nick Kroll, and Maya Rudolph. Oh, Jessie, I can't remember her name, does the voice for Jessie.
My favorite character on that show
Oh, and Jenny Slate.
is a hormone monster. But he's like the old, horrible hormone monster. He's got like a peg leg and an
He's,
eye
like,
that's
falling
constantly
apart.
swollen shut. And he always goes,
And that's the perfect impression of it.
little monster. Like, there's this.
But he's awful at giving advice too. Like he's just so bad.
You
You gotta twist it.
Yeah,
You're like,
he's like the hormone monsters are always telling for the guys, they're always telling them they gotta jerk off when they're like frustrated or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's twisted, baby. Twisted like a salt shaker, baby, or a pepper shaker. And he's like, oh, this hurts. I don't think it's hurtful. No, you're doing it great, baby. Keep going. Now hit it on the head. Oh my God.
it's amazing.
Oh,
I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. I think it's, John Mulaney, I still like his first special the most.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like New Guy or New Kid in Town or
Yeah.
something like that?
New guy in town.
And he's put out two
Or New
more
in
since
Town.
then that I've watched, and I've enjoyed those. But he was like getting big,
Mm-hmm.
when those were out, and he had a good partner in his life, and it's hard, I think, to be.
He wasn't fucked enough for you.
His life was too good, so that his humor wasn't like it didn't do as much for me.
Okay.
I really liked his first one, and then he got a TV show, and I remember there was an Ask Reddit about it, and somebody was like,
A different TV show than what we're
a
talking.
different TV show. They got it on like a major network,
Yeah,
and
like
somebody
a
asked
sitcom
him,
almost.
they're like, "Is this going to be your humor, or did the suits get all over it?" And he just ignored the question, and the show flopped. And I was like, "Oh fuck! I hope Mulaney's not actually way less funny than I thought." Now he's got this show, and it's like it's him. He's back, and he's there with Nick Kroll, and they used to go on to Conan and do these characters together, and they were
They also did another Netflix project. I think it was Netflix, but it something to do with like two old guys who living in New York. Like
Yeah.
they played old men, and it was
They-
supposed to be like a live action
they did a live play of
skit
that.
play. Yeah,
in like New York. And I always thought that was okay. I definitely saw that they were getting along really well together, which has the potential to produce really good stuff. But Big Mouth, I think their personalities are finally coming through. So I really, really dig it. And I think everybody should check it out. It's like, there's like 2 or 3 seasons, right?
Yes. If
Now
it's
the
not
only
3
thing-
seasons, it might be that there was a special Valentine's episode that was like an hour long.
Now,
think.
now the only thing that we really need for the world to be complete is Nick Swardson to get his own show just for the gay robot.
Oh my god.
From Nick Swardson's Special Time? Is that
Yeah,
what it
I
was?
think so.
All right, everybody. It's about that time. We're going to kick it to a break so we can get the wah-wahs and go pips, pips, and we'll catch you on the flip side. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to wrap this episode early. We all just got a flash flood warning for the next 4 hours. And
A thunder and a lightning out.
the power just went out on everything. Unfortunately, it saved our first section, but we can't be sure about the rest of it. So anybody have any topics they want to hit on before we call it a day?
you can hit on me, Bill.
Chris?
Very good. I'll allow it.
Bitch, I'll allow it.
I didn't know anyone could still pull off khaki shorts, but you're doing it.
And he's not
Right.
even a dad. It's weird.
Not even a dad.
No, well, maybe he is.
No intention on having kids either.
You
Just a daddy.
Just
Yeah, you know it, boy.
Jake, I need
yes,
on the air
Daddy.
to.
Yes. Wear
I
those
need to
khaki
praise
shorts.
this shirt that you've got. It's like you're not a fisherman, but it's got fish all on it. Marlins,
cool.
another ocean fish.
It's
It
like
is
blue and
red
red.
and blue and gray in like a modern layout. I don't even know what.
I love it.
love that.
Over
I
white.
unironically fucking want that shirt.
Hey, man.
I want a
Cape
copy.
May.
Get it?
Cape,
that would
Cape
be-
May, New Jersey.
If it was just art in some way, it should just be in like a sushi restaurant. Like that's where I would say
I actually made this shirt out of sushi restaurant wallpaper.
the whole rest. Okay, just
I believe it.
Perfect.
I believe it. Okay, everybody. We want to thank you once again for checking in with us. I've got some secret coals in the fire. Hopefully by next episode, I'll have a big reveal for everybody. But until then, hey, don't forget to cock 'em, rock 'em, rock 'em, baby. Fish, 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 fish.
sushi.